Welcome to Does the Team Think? Good evening, I'm Vic Reeves and welcome to Does the Team Think, the radio programme that invites four frantic and overdressed messengers from the world of light entertainment to answer questions posed by our audience of ordinary workaday folk. That's you. All right, then, well, let's meet our guests tonight. Who have we got? What a lovely bunch we've got. And please welcome the fourth BG, Andy Parsons. And looking gorgeous in head-to-toe chiffon, please welcome Ralf Little. With a body that supports seven visible heads. It's Rich Hall.
Hello.
And please, finally welcome the scourge of the barn dance. It's Gaby Roslin. So let's have the first question from the gentleman there with the Groucho Marx mask on. Or is that Steve Wright? I don't know.
Hello, my name's Mick, and I'd like to ask, does the team remember its first romantic kiss?
Thank you, Mick. Does the team remember its first romantic kiss? I kissed a girl, and I liked it.
The taste of that cherry chapstick, eh?
Was it a cherry chapstick? I thought it was a cherry wood walking stick.
Did your boyfriend mind? That's what I want to know, Vic.
He didn't at the time. It was the first time I kissed her was in boots. The second time I wore shoes. So anyway, Andy, you piped up first there, so carry on.
I just knew the lyrics. That was all. I just thought I wasn't sure how many you knew.
You need more than lyrics on this show, Andy.
Yes. Well, I remember my first kiss. It was I was 6, and it was a girl called Catherine, and
of Aragon.
Surprisingly not. No. But let's say yes and just see where it goes.
Yeah.
Yes, the first girl I ever kissed was the Catherine of Aragon.
Catholic girl.
But you seem to know that already, Vic.
It was just a guess.
But no, it was outside the boys' toilets, and she then went and told on me, and I got detention. And I thought we were going to get married and everything, and as it was, it lasted about 2 minutes, and I was very upset, and it took me a very long time to trust girls afterwards. But it was okay, because she had her head cut off.
Yeah. You moved on to Catherine Parr. Gaby, you're looking very interested.
Well, no, but my first kiss was one of those ones that all the girls talk about afterwards. I was about 13 or 14 years old. His name was David. He was very tall, and it was my first French kiss. And I just remember his tongue was really big and fat, and it was wet, and he went around really, really, really fast.
Are you sure he wasn't a turtle?
It would have been better, let me tell you. It went around really fast, and then afterwards he looked and he had this bit of dribble right on the end of his chin that was wobbling. And he went, "Oh, Gaby, I really like that," and it just kept wobbling, this bit of dribble.
So he had a revolving tongue.
He did, and it was like a washing machine.
Rich.
Yeah, my first kiss was a girl named Catherine.
Of Aragon.
Outside a boys' toilet. I was 5, and I had to show her how to do it right because some bald-headed 6-year-old had ruined it for her. My first kiss was with a woman who had some extremely ambitious dental work. Her name was Elise Alderman, and it was like kissing a scaffold. It was massive. It was this thing in her mouth, like an alien creature, and it took me all summer just to get the jaw to open.
Actually,
I kept at it.
My first girlfriend, when I was 14, gave me a love bite on the neck, which is scandalous at any age. But I then continued to wear a polo neck to disguise it in the heat of the summer holidays. But my dad knew what was under that polo neck and let me wear it for 5 weeks.
You'd have thought, though, that maybe after about a week of wearing the same polo neck, actually the love bite was less embarrassing than having a really smelly polo neck.
There are lots of questions to be raised there, you know, but I didn't. Ralph, you must have kissed lots of girls at a very young age.
No, because I couldn't kiss girls. No girls were interested in kissing me until I was on the television. Frankly, which is definitely the best
You don't get any money for sympathy votes, do you?
That's all I am now, it's fine. Occasionally. Yeah, it was with a girl called... I was a fairly late starter, actually. I think I was on my 13th birthday. It was a girl called Victoria, and she was the sister of a lad in my class. And I remember she was massive. She was a rather butch lady, and she didn't open her mouth properly. Right, so, you know, some people who talk like this, well, that's how she kissed. And she actually picked me up, and I felt incredibly emasculated because...
I thought she was going to say she ate you.
No, she couldn't open her mouth wide enough. She picked me up because she was massive, and she squeezed me so tight that she pulled my shoulder almost out of its socket, and I had to go and see the doctor 4 days later and didn't tell my mum how I did it. Said it was a football injury. It was a really, really bad experience all around. Oh. Thanks, Victoria.
The next question is from that gentleman there with the brass hand.
My name's Andy. Does the team think it's good for men to be present at the birth of their children?
Does the team think it's good for men to be present at the birth of their children? It's always good to be there at the conception. But what about the birth? Gaby?
Oh, yes. Look,
you've had plenty of children, haven't you?
I've had 2, and just, frankly, very important for them to be there, but to stay head end all times, because then, from then on, if they go the other way, they're put off.
Oh, tell me about it.
Oh, yeah, but there. Were you head end?
I've seen it many, many times with all my many children.
And that's not how I'd want to be remembered, you see.
No.
Stay up at the head.
But, you know, it wears off after time.
Well, actually, my partner, though, when I just had my baby 2 years ago, and he sat there, and he got a bit bored, so he went and he said, oh, I'm going to get some sandwiches, and he sat there eating cheese and onion sandwiches, reading the newspaper, sitting on a chair, while the gynaecologist saying, oh, she's doing well, oh, she's expanding and she's growing, and then, oh, look, the baby's coming out, and he's sitting there eating his sandwiches with his Guardian newspaper on his lap, going, oh, yes.
At least it was the Guardian, and, you know, it was at least sort of vaguely intellectual newspaper.
Yes.
If it had been the Sun, you'd have been devastated.
Ralph, the last time you looked in that area was, I suppose, when you emerged. You haven't got any kids, have you?
Yeah, I was reversing out of there. No, I haven't got any kids that I know of. No, I don't have any kids. I'm 28, though, and I'm starting to...
That's all right.
I'm starting to move towards an age where, you know, I'm starting to think about maybe settling down with a family. I just need to find a girlfriend first. That's generally the order, and these things
A girlfriend who doesn't dislocate your shoulder.
Yeah, exactly. A girlfriend who isn't built like Mike Tyson would be handy. No, I haven't. But I'd like to think I'm a fairly modern man. I think I'd like to be there. I mean, I do think ladies make a bit of a fuss about it.
You whippersnapper.
Right, I'll tell you, let me ask you a question.
Ladies towards you with cudgels.
Let me ask the gentleman in this room, if we had to, you know, go through childbirth, it'd be like that. You know, I'm in labour, you nip in a hospital, pop it out, job done, in the pub by tea time. Am I wrong? No.
Because men never complain about anything, do they?
Oh, we're great when we're ill.
Come on then, Rich, what about you? You must have many children.
I just have the one, and yeah, it was. I don't see why we shouldn't be present.
Did you get down there and have a look?
I watched the whole thing. It was a
Really?
nightmare up until the moment she was born, and then they actually got it right. But they did have they had like a bullseye on the wall with numbers on it for scoring, for popping the baby out. And I don't know if that was for accuracy or distance, but it was there.
Andy, over there.
I've never been present at birth. I don't have any children, and now, after all your descriptions, Vic, I'm somewhat put off. I've got to be honest. But obviously, I think
If it was an eel, would you not mind?
I'm not sure that would help. No. But obviously, I think you should be there just to check that you get the right kid. Because there's all those worries, aren't there? They've got the wrong kid and they've swapped them round.
What,
you know.
inside?
Not inside, no.
No, that can't happen,
the
Gaby.
mum's nipped off to sleep, and then they've swapped them round, and they've brought up this kid that turns out not to be yours. I mean, the last thing, given that you spend all your money actually getting all these kids, you don't want to find out that your kid has actually been brought up by 2 hippies on a barge in Penge. and is now called Dandelion. That would be very frustrating to find out, wouldn't it?
Sounds all right to me. Let's move on to the next question. And the question comes from the boy there in chiffon.
Hello there, my name's Chris. Did the team enjoy being students?
Did the team enjoy being a student? If you were a student, I studied owl behaviour, and I can tell you, it was a hoot. Then I moved on to sports studies. I had a ball. And having said that, I'll move directly over to the Prince of Comedy, Rich Hall. What did you study?
I studied journalism.
Oh, get you, Ducky.
Yeah, and that worked out really well. My first job was editing the prayer for the Seattle Post-Intelligencer. They had a prayer in the paper every day, and I had to go in and punch it up.
What, an edit?
Make it funnier. There was a prayer and also a joke of the day, and they put me in charge of that.
Ralph, were you a student?
I was briefly a student.
Briefly? How brief?
4 weeks.
What did you do?
I was at medical school.
No.
Yeah. Everyone's waiting for a punchline.
Why did you
I was at medical school.
Why did you
It
get
was
thrown
sick.
out?
No. It's not a particularly funny answer, but since you asked, I started. I'd filmed the Royal Family, the first series, I took 3 months out of my final year.
One who gave you a taste for medicine.
Yeah. No, I'd filmed that just as a hobby in my final A-level year, and then went back to school, scraped the grades I needed, started medicine, which I always thought I was going to do. And the Royal Family came out at exactly the same time as I started, and I thought, well, I've got a chance at, doing a really fun job with no responsibility and sort of living sort of the student life for the rest of my life. So
you could have been a doctor by now. Andy?
I was a student, and, obviously the great thing about being a student back in the day, wasn't it, was that we could waste taxpayers' money. Now, of course, students got to pay for their own tuition fees. I mean, we no longer resent students, do we? We just find them amusing, How much in debt are you? Oh, brilliant. Wasn't there? There was a survey done. Apparently, if you're a student, you actually live on average 7 years longer than people who weren't a student. Just proof that 3 years of drinking beer and doing sod all can be good for you.
Thank you, Andy. Gaby, were you a student?
I was, and I'm pleased. I'm going to live 7 years longer. That's all right. Yeah, I was.
What did you study?
Acting.
Oh!
Darling.
What did you... where at? RADA?
At Guildford. And I had an absolutely fantastic time.
Did you? What did you do?
I snogged every boy. I just completely went into snog zone. Obviously, I had a really bad experience the very first time, and I made up for it when I went to college. But no, I loved it.
Did the revolving tongue come into play?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I sort of made up for it then. No, I had a great time.
Oh, did you?
I had a really good time.
You can actually now, as a university course, though, do TV studies. That is now... TV studies as a 3-year course. Let's face it, watching Diagnosis Murder, for most students, is not revision, is it?
Yeah.
It's what they do anyway. Jeremy Kyle, that is not, some sort of essay thing.
I once met a witch in Brooklyn. I was talking to her, and she says it takes 6 years to be as a witch apprentice. It takes 6 years to become a witch.
Yeah.
And you don't go to school. You just 6 years. To be a doctor, it takes 6 years in America. I'm just saying.
Oh, right, okay.
And
I'm just saying, if you meet a witch doctor, you are looking at 12 years of experience.
Right, let's move on to the next question, and I'll take it from that man there slavering into his compact.
Hi, my name's Chris, and does the team have anything unusual in their loo or bathroom? And if not, why not?
Ooh, why not? Does the team have anything unusual in their toilet or bathroom? And if not, why not? I've got a toilet paper lock, and this is true, which so I can lock it so my guests can only get one piece of toilet paper at a time. And I'm thinking of having a jelly bean machine in there, to keep... Or sandwiches. Well, carry on then, Andy.
Well, it's funny you should
What have you got in your toilet?
You were talking about having a toilet paper lock. Did you see that for the Credit Crunch, one of their advices was what you should do, right, if you wanted to save money, if you unravel a whole load of toilet paper when you sit down, you should roll some of it back on, right, to save yourself cash. As if people actually pull the toilet roll holder, work out they've got loads more than they need, and then go, oh, crikey, I'll be here for a while then, you know. But I have got very little unusual in my toilet. I think you should do what you're doing and get out of there fairly swiftly. Otherwise, you're going to get piles. That's basically it, you know. Obviously, I think a decent ventilation system is important, Vic.
Yeah.
I did read the other day that apparently methane is 23 times more dangerous as a global warming gas than carbon dioxide.
I think you could probably up the figures there when it comes out of my toilet.
Well, there you go. So if you do make a smell, Vic, you need to breathe it in to try and save the planet. That's what I'm saying.
Gaby, how about you in your toilet?
I've got a pram in there.
Have you really?
There's nowhere else to put it, so we've got it in the loo.
How big's your loo?
Well, it's big enough for a pram and a loo and a sink.
Incidentally, do you know why it's called a loo?
No.
There's many various reasons. Gardeloo, the old Tudor word for a toilet, but also, then, my favourite is this, that the Victorians were very prudish and didn't like to have toilet written on the door in a hotel, so they used to say it was room 100, and if you just take that 1 and make it look a little bit like an L, it's a loo.
Oh.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. And moving on to our next question on QI.
I thought I'd been transported.
So, Rich...
Is that why they called it room 101? Because it was such a nightmare being in the room next door to the person who'd just been to the loo.
Laugh out loud.
Yeah.
LOL. Rich. Rich, have you got... Do you have toilets in America?
Yeah, we have toilets. We call them crappers.
And what have you got in yours?
My dad owned a service station. I have a key attached to a tire.
So you can lock yourself in?
Yeah. Where we live now, we have a bidet, which I had a lot of fun with till I found out what it was for.
When you say bidet, that looks very similar to a pram a lot of the time, doesn't it?
Well, and we also have a picture of a comedian named Mike Wilmot.
Gary Wilmot?
No, Mike Wilmot. Who stares down at you when you're taking a leak. He's staring back at you.
It's strange having people staring down at you when you're sitting there, isn't it? When you're straining and you see a smiling face of...
It makes me laugh, though, so in a way, I don't know,
like
it works.
Gary Wilmot.
Yeah.
Ralf.
Yes. Well, I'm sort of with Andy in that I don't really like to spend unnecessary time in there. I don't, the people who politely have like little books to read, but of little small anecdotes and quotes and loo reading. They call it. I've never been a fan of that. I sort of one-stop drop, in, bang and out.
Really?
Yeah.
I used to be like that when I was your age. I now have Homer's Odyssey in there.
So. No, not really. I used to have a Velcro dartboard in there. And it used to be, me and my flatmates had a high score competition to see. You had 3 Velcro darts in the space of 1 visit. What was the highest score you could get? But then we realised that we're, nearly 30, and it was time to stop pretending that we were 5.
Especially if you're both in there at the same time.
Yes.
Let's move on to the next question, and it comes from the Spaniard there with the pike staff. What's your name? What's your question?
Hi, my name is Jack, and I was wondering, what does the team think is the funniest T-shirt slogan, and would they wear it?
What does the team think is the funniest T-shirt slogan, and would they wear it? I had one that said... Do you remember those ones that said, I'm with stupid, with the finger pointing that way? Which isn't that funny, well... Anyway, it got me the sack from the lunatic asylum.
You're right, though, it's not a funny shirt, that, is it? I think what they should do, right, is they should stick their own head through the armpit so as it points up at their own face.
Andy, would you ever wear a T-shirt that said Andy Parsons on it?
No. I think I'm pretty aware of what my own name is.
Yeah, but just to let everyone else know.
Right. Why would I necessarily
Well, written
do that?
on in biro.
Maybe try and flog them at some of the gigs,
That's a good idea. I'll do them for you. I'm pretty quick with a biro.
Handmade by Vic Reeves, I think they could sell.
Andy Parsons written on the bar. That's a good idea. What about you, Gaby? Do you ever write your name on your T-shirt in biro? Have you got an embarrassing T-shirt story?
Oh, I hate slogans on T-shirts.
Me too.
With a passion.
Nike. What a rubbish statement.
I hate them, but I've just remembered, and I'm actually blushing here on the radio, but I've just remembered something I wore when I was 14. I actually had a T-shirt. You remember when JR was shot in Dallas?
Yeah.
I've just remembered it was pale blue with navy writing. It said, "I shot JR." Oh, why?
But isn't that cool?
Oh, no, not now.
Yeah, it's cool now to wear. I'd wear one of them now. Wouldn't you, Ralph?
Well, yeah,
At least that's
maybe.
better than one that says, "I shot JFK."
Ralph, you're a young cat. You must have plenty of embarrassingly slogan T-shirts, or really cool ones.
Well, I think you walk in a very fine line with T-shirt slogans and gags on, because I think 99.9% of them are appalling, and they're a bit like student-y sort of, oh, quick, look at me, how hilarious I am, because I wear clothes with jokes on. But every now and again you do get one that genuinely is laugh out loud funny, like that one. I would wear a T-shirt that said "I shot JFK" on. I would find that highly amusing, and I'd just hide behind any grassy knoll I could find.
Well, look, Rich, there's an outlet for you.
I just think it's funny when you see like really old guys who clearly don't know what the shirt means. You see,
What,
like,
they got the name of the railway.
Yeah, or like a big fat German in Speedos and wingtip black shoes on the beach, and then a shirt that says like "Rage Against the Machine." He's like 73 and has a cane, you know. And you just wonder, where did you get that shirt? I imagine charity shops, but I don't know. I sent a couple of Delamitri shirts to when Live Aid was on, because
You sold a couple?
No, I just sent them to the address on Live Aid, because I want to see him. I want to watch Live Aid 6-7 years from now and see like a little kid in Darfur wearing a Delamitri shirt.
No, I'd like to see that as well.
The credit crunch, though, they're bound to have some shirts due to the credit crunch, aren't they? There's bound to be, like, various, I don't know, along the lines of, my parents travelled to Iceland and all they bought me was 17 lousy T-shirts because they're going cheap over there now, or my parents travelled to a T-shirt emporium and all they bought me was Zimbabwe, something like that.
Right, so let's move on. Another question there for the next questionnaire.
My name's Andrew. Does the team think they've been affected by last year's poor weather?
Does the team think they've been affected by last year's poor weather? I got so wet I dissolved. But I reconstituted myself. As you apparently
Can we
did.
clarify the question? Did he say Paul Weller?
Yeah.
Because his new album's really good. I don't know about last year.
Have the team been affected by last year's Paul Weller?
That's what it sounded like to me.
Paul Weller, though, he is the changing man, isn't he?
I actually think we should answer that question instead. Fully everybody.
Have the team... all right, then we'll do that. Gaby, have you been affected by Paul Weller?
Sadly not.
Has he ever, like me...
Paul Weller.
Has he ever... sometimes I've been doing the washing up and he rises up in front of the window in front of me and starts glowering.
And then behind him there's Bruce Foxton shaking his fist, wanting to be part of the heat.
No, worse than that, I've got the other mob. The forgotten lot. Who was... Style Council.
Yeah.
The mysterious missing pianist.
Mick Talbot.
Yeah, Mick Talbot, that's him.
Yeah.
He appeared.
It's worked out okay for the... I seem to know more about Paul Weller than anybody else here.
So, Ralph, have you been affected by Paul Weller?
No, this year he's sort of left me alone, but last year he was a real menace. He's just going through my bins, just playing live gigs outside my house.
You wait till he gets in
Crowds
your
were
attic.
Yeah, I just couldn't get rid of him, but he seems to have left me alone this year, so, it's all right.
So, Rich, you were the first one to be disturbed by the Paul Weller incident.
I haven't myself, but it's hurricane season in the U.S., and my relatives, I asked them about did the hurricane affect you? Well, we've had some poor Paul Weller lately, but we weren't really hit by the hurricane.
But they do like to name their hurricanes after a name, don't they? You know, Hurricane Paul Weller, I can see it coming in now. Because it was Hurricane Katrina, first of all, and then people didn't move out of their houses quickly enough, so they named it Hurricane Gustav, didn't they? Obviously going for a foreign-sounding name, trying to scare the Americans a little bit more. If they really want those Americans to flee quickly, just call it Hurricane Salad. They'll be out of there like a shot.
Final question is this, and it's my personal question. Does the team think that hair from barbers and hairdressers should be recycled, e.g. padding in car seats and loft insulation?
That's going to work out all right for me, isn't it, Vic? Hey, imagine that, thinking that my loft has got more hair than I have.
Andy Parsons is bald. Gaby, what about you?
Yeah, loft insulation. I'm with you all the way.
You with me? Ralph?
Other people's old hair's a bit minging, though, isn't it?
You wouldn't have it in your loft or in your cushions?
Actually, yeah, it's one thing saying it's a bit minging. If it's going to just be insulating your loft, I suppose it doesn't really matter.
Rich, any final thoughts on stuffing?
No, I think it's a horrible idea. Do you know when Britney Spears cut her hair, they tried to sell it for $6,000 on eBay?
Really?
And a huge bidding war broke out. And then, as would only happen in America, a man stepped in and said, no, it's only worth $700. And they asked him why. He said, I'm an expert on celebrity hair. And they said, what makes you an expert? He said, I happen to own Abraham Lincoln's beard.
I think we've come to the end of tonight's debacle, and, well, people, I sincerely hope that you will take the information you've accumulated here tonight and dispose of it thoughtfully in the bins provided. I know I will. Good night.